what is also terrible is actually what's happened at the Opera House over there at Disneyland.
Oh,
What am I talking about? I'm talking about the story that's going viral right now. We've been covering the Walt Disney Audio Animatronic, and for those unfamiliar with how this show is supposed to go, here, let me go ahead and share my screen really fast here. You can see it has the Mice Chat branding on it, but this is actually a video that Disney themselves actually put out. You can see right there how he kind of sits up and it goes through his speech and, all's supposed to end well there. But as we've been noting here on That Park Place, it has suffered some difficulty. In fact, on July 17th, the first day of official operation for this audio animatronic show, well, this happened. So let's see if I can play it.
He's the smart Disney.
And not good. Not good indeed. And now, unfortunately, he's not only broken down, but he's broken down in a very awkward position. This is from Mouse Planet. Nighty night, Walt. There you go. We knew it was going to happen. We predicted it. You cannot have an audio animatronic of this era, and I'll say the kind of the electronic actuation era, without something happening like this. We've seen this with Jonas by Adventure multiple times. We've even seen this with Kylo Ren and some of the other figures. And when you have somebody who is as beloved as Walt Disney is, and you recreate him in audio animatronic form, you have to understand that this is the consequence or the risk you put this audio animatronic figure depicting this great man in. And it's unbelievably sad. I think Save the Magic had something about this. One of the many reasons why Disney shouldn't have done this. We all knew it was only a matter of time before images like this got out, and this is not good. Now, some people, they were having fun with it, as you can see right here. He's a little bit of Weekend at Bernie's there, another Weekend at Bernie's, and yet another Weekend at Bernie's. It's quite predictable. Ivan over there at Park Hoppin'. Thank you so much, Jay, for always supporting us. All right, time to go to back to the drawing board, Disneyland. WDI, this is Tiana's Bayou Adventure times 10. Guys, what is going on here? I mean, should they retool this show? Should they remove this audio animatronic entirely? What should they do? Because actually, Laughing Place had this video in which they posted. It's basically walk it anytime, which is kind of standard for the Opera House, and another thing that we predicted here on That Park Place. Over the next couple of days, after this initially opens, you're going to be able to walk in here. Lots of empty seats, as you can see. What should they do? Guys, I'm going to hand the floor to you.
Oh, that's so funny, because if this were 6 months ago, I would say they should not have done this. But now that it's done, what do we do about the fact that they have put Walt Disney as a figure in the park, as an icon in the park, as a caricature of himself that doesn't look like himself in the park? I had a discussion with someone in Imagineering about this. Ooh. And they pointed out that the argument right after the bat was, oh, well, it's the lighting that's the problem. It's this, it's that, it's the other thing. But this is official video from Disney themselves. By the way, I'm going to point out that this is taken from a higher vantage point than most people in that theater will be seeing him. This is the
Good
best
observation.
angle to view it, is not an angle that is available to any of the audience, because they're not on a tripod in the back zoomed in. They're sitting in the seats that are below this. So I don't know, maybe that would be a better view, but the images we're seeing from this angle, the audience angle, not so great. I think that this is something that they probably, if I were trying to salvage this, I would put him in silhouette, but night vision camera or light collecting sensors on cameras and things like that will quickly defeat that. So I don't know. I don't think this was a good idea to begin with. I think they need to redo the facial technology for this animatronic to get him looking actually like Walt Disney, instead of a Walt Disney mask put on the mechanisms that make him look so bloated here. I don't like the idea of a Walt Disney animatronic. I think that Bob Iger would understand if they tried to make an animatronic of Bob Iger and and he didn't have any say over the words that came out of that Bob Iger animatronic's mouth. I think he would understand how disrespectful and eerie that is. I think this is something that they should never have done, and they really need to tread carefully and save face and get away from this monstrosity, or make him look like Tom Hanks. That's the other option.
I guess that is always an option right there. Culture, I'm reminded of Joanna Miller and how she begged Disney not to do this.
Yeah.
Well, and now you get to see Grandpa or your beloved family member in this way, going viral on social media. Culture, your thoughts?
Well, this was a predictable disaster, as you guys have been saying since we started the segment. I knew this was going to be very bad. They're using, not the greatest technology in the world. They should be doing far better than they were capable of better than this, or they used to be. And that's kind of the eye shade that I've drawn over this. They used to be really good at animatronics, at fooling you, at making you believe for a moment that the, somewhat robotic thing in front of you was an actual person. But again, with the way they loaded this thing out, and it doesn't have any compliance. You guys have seen that, right? So like when it jerked to a halt, it looked like a tin soldier like lining up or something. Just like
right. Yeah, compliance for the audience. It's the ability for an animatronic figure to stop even after a big motion, right? That was I think a feature part of the A1000 series of audio animatronics introduced, if I'm not mistaken. I think with like Disneyland Paris, in which they can move, and you're not going to get that shake. You're going to get that smooth movement, even if it does stop on time.
Yeah, it's going to finish like a human being does. Some of the best compliance animatronics are actually in Spaceship Earth. Some that are very close to the writers, they have incredible compliance, especially in the mathematics area. But if you ever want to be fascinated by that tech, there's a series of figures that are ridiculous. But do you know who seemingly doesn't do it very well? And this may be the same problem that this fellow's having, is the Kylo Ren that Jonas was mentioning. Well, regardless.
We're essentially talking about the same one, because isn't Kylo Ren supposed to be the Wicked Witch of the West animatronic repurposed?
Yes, to some extent, yes. But it was demanded to do a lot of other things that it didn't do in its normal performance. But
right, and that doesn't even have a face, so we're not even getting into the real crimes of that animatronic.
Yeah, I mean, the facial stuff, I mean, you're looking at, like, oftentimes a head will have 16 or more, different control surfaces, whatever you want to call them. But when you look at this particular animatronic, it just isn't, it wasn't built well. Look at that thing.
Here's what you do. You say that he's trying to be careful about COVID, and you just put a mask on him.
That doesn't solve the problem.
It makes him, I guess, more accurate.
Really well out there in California.
He's modern for today's generation. Really can speak to the youth there. Look, I mean, I know they have. I think it was the Shaman that had 16 functions, if I'm not mistaken, or at least a high degree of functionality. And then I believe this one took it even more. And so that's why I think you have the wideness in his face. They're really trying to inject many functions into this specific figure right here, make him as close to human sized as possible, and now you maybe have some issues with the face in which you have to fit all this functionality into a mold that may be very accurate but doesn't quite fit this head here.
Well, you're right. But a lot of it, too, is that they didn't bother with the engineering or the re-engineering of any of the motorized parts that they could have done to not really worry too much about the bulk. And once again, if you return back to, air, nitrogen, any kind of fluid compression type of actuator, you would have added a little bit of weight, but at the same time, you could have managed a more narrow structure for the head. There's a lot of things that could have gone into making this better. They didn't take any of those paths. They went with the cheapest way to make this look like Mao Zedong, so that they could repurpose it for China. It's
Disney. It's Mouse.
Oh, sorry. But what I'm trying to say, honestly, is this looks more like Mao than it does Walt. There might be a reason for that. This could have been, planned for Shanghai, which Disney got shanghaied into about $400 million worth of graph that nobody can track even to this day.
Yeah.
So this is an embarrassing situation all around. It never should have been done. I feel bad for the family. and mostly I just feel bad for us because we could have gotten something better of higher quality and not Walt. I mean, seriously, there are people that you could have asked permission, to use, or their family permission to use. You could have brought a famous Imagineer in there. I would love to be lectured at for, 25 minutes. Tony Baxter comes in and gives us a talk.
They should have put Joe Rohde on there. But
Joe Rohde.
Way to the earring.
The way to the earring. Well, that would have thrown it off balance.
Yeah, that's why he slumps over that much. Oh, somebody meme that image right there of Walt Disney with the Joe Rohde earring. I'll look when it comes to this specific audio animatronic. This is something. Honestly, quite frankly, many predicted. Many said, "Hey, look, listen, don't do this." Some people begged them not to, including family members and so forth. But
iWorks, yes,
yeah, but they wanted to just continue on, just like that's an ethics conversation, right? In Jurassic Park, you were so obsessed with whether or not you could, you didn't even stop to think whether or not you should.
I think he just caught himself picking his own pocket. That's why he just came to an abrupt halt.
I see. Well, that's
this looks like. This looks like too much scotch with Walt. That's what that looks like.
Oh.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.